Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. Welcome to the 19th edition of Random Ramblings with Randomonium. I am your host, Randomonium, and today I'm feeling a little bit sick today, but I wanted to cast this game because I had some time, and it's a pretty short game. But this is actually a ranked game I played, and I don't play that much ranked, just because I've been very fed up with a lot of the toxic people that I see in ranked games. But I decided to do a ranked game, and of course I was the last pick on my team, so I was kind of stuck with whatever I got as the last pick. And in this game I'm actually going to be playing Gnar in top lane, which I haven't done before on any of these streams. But I wanted to kind of talk about kind of team compositions and pick order and choosing the right champions, right? Because this team gets made, everybody calls their roles, and I wind up in a role that I don't normally play, top lane. And sure enough, you know, everybody who goes before me picks a very kind of squishy champion. So I've got to deal with the fact that I'm not playing a role that I'm used to playing. I gotta play somebody who's got some tank ability, right? And then I'm going up against a Renekton in top lane who is really good against most tanky champions. He really is kind of a lane bully against melee champions. So I really wanted to try and avoid going with a melee champion, especially since I'm not very familiar with top lane. So I want to have a ranged champion. I wanted to have a champion I could disengage with against Renekton if he tries to all-in me. But at the same time, I needed to have a champion that had some tankiness to it and had some CC to him. So Gnar was kind of like the perfect pick. And this is actually the first time that I played Gnar in ranked. I play him in normals quite a few times. This is the first time I brought him out in ranked. And it kind of really pays off, and I'll show you how it pays off. But choosing the right champion, even if it's not your best champion, is sometimes the better option. It really can work out in your favor, because it doesn't really matter how awesome you are. If your team composition sucks, then you might crush the laning phase, but you're gonna get your butt kicked in the later parts of the game when you start team fighting. And then the other thing I'm going to talk about a little bit in this game is I'm going to talk about military service, because I am in the military, so that's what I'm going to ramble on today. So as far as matchup is concerned, I'll play Gnar in the top lane, Wukong is our jungler, Lux is our mid laner, and Jinx and Zyra are our bot lane duo. And we're going up against a Renekton in top lane, Shyvana in the jungle, Swain in mid, and Ezreal and Blitzcrank in the bot lane. So we'll first start off in mid lane here, and this is kind of an interesting she's got a lot of CC, she's got luminosity and things like that. We can see right here. Alright, so this is an all-in by Swain, but he doesn't have the health advantage, and he also doesn't have the minion advantage. So these minions are attacking him the entire time, the Ignite is ticking, and Lux is able to burst him out. So the reason why Lux was able to get that kill is, first off, he had the health advantage. He was, you know, out trading Lux at the beginning, and then he gets hit with the luminosity, which dropped his health below Lux. So that was the first mistake he made. And then he moved forward to land his Nevermore and gets caught in Lux's binding. So now he's landed his Nevermore, but he's bound, and doesn't have the health advantage anymore. Then, to make matters worse, on top of that, he does his combo incorrectly. He uses his he doesn't use his Torment first, which allows him to deal additional damage. So he actually does less damage to Lux than he should have. And when you have that fine margin for error in those early team fights, especially with the minion aggro, it's enough to sway the battle in Lux's favor, and she's able to get the kill. So I'm going to back up because we can see that Shyvana just came in here to try and get the cleanup on Lux. So we see that Shyvana invaded the jungle. Now she comes down to gank Lux, and she just flashes this wall. There's no reason to do this, ever. Ever, ever, ever. Like, no reason to try and go for this flash engage. I mean, the only way you could possibly justify it is if you had some form of hard CC that can win you the fight instantaneously. Like if you got like a stun into like another stun or a knock up, and you can just burst the person down before they can even get out of the CC. But Shyvana doesn't have that, so there's no reason to burn the flash. Just run around, zone her away from the tower, so basically come to this area so that she can't run back to her tower, and then you got her. There's no way that she's going to be able to kill her. And then what you do is you save your flash for if she does happen to land her binding on you, like what happens here. Once you get off of the CC, then you can flash to re-engage and pick up the kill. So, really bad mistake using that flash prematurely. Allows Lux to just land her binding and then just walk away. And there's nothing really Shyvana can do. And then Wukong comes in and almost gets the counter gank kill on top of that. So that actually puts Shyvana like way far behind. She had a better initial clear than Wukong, but going for that failed gank is going to wind up costing her. Alright, so moving down the bot lane, Blitzcrank comes around and he tries to basically all in Zyra and Jinx. So he activates his movement speed, he comes over to try and get his rocket grab, and he misses. That allows Zyra to turn and land her root onto Blitzcrank. So this is pretty much a guaranteed kill. You get the root, you're pretty much in a guaranteed kill kind of situation. So one more auto attack will do it, but instead of getting that auto attack or even flashing for the auto attack to get the kill, Jinx turns and tries to get her chompers onto Ezreal. She gets way too greedy. So you always go for the guaranteed kill, and then if you can, you mop up later. But instead, Blitzcrank now gets away with the heal, forces Zyra to flash get the kill, and then Ezreal kills her right back. So Ezreal gets a kill, so their AD carry gets a kill, and our support gets a kill in return. Definitely not a fair trade. However, it's not all bad, right? Because Ezreal, when he used that arcane shift to move forward to kill Zyra, he lands right on a chomper. Fortunately, Jinx doesn't make a very good use of this because she rotates down to this part and she actually goes into turret range. So this entire time that Ezreal is on the chomper, she does no damage to him. And she should have been able to burst him down, maybe not kill him completely, but at least force him out of the lane so that he wouldn't be able to stick around and get this CS here. So minor mistakes in positioning wind up costing Jinx the kill because she could have got the kill into Blitzcrank, and also allowed Ezreal to get a kill, and then also allowed him to either survive or stay in lane because of poor positioning. Sorry. Still recovering from a cold. Alright, so this is kind of a normal or kind of a common mistake, right? So you're standing here in lane, you're pushed up really far, the enemy ADC is low health. What are you hoping to gain, right? What are you hoping to gain from this? Are you just trying to get more farm to, get some item that you're looking for? You always have to have a reasoning behind this, because right now Jinx is incredibly vulnerable. There's no ward coverage, so if Blitzcrank shows up, or Shyvana shows up, Jinx is dead. And that really is what happens right here. So Jinx sees Blitzcrank come in here. She has her flash. So a couple options here, right? You can either make for the bushes and then try to cut up here using the minions. You can go just make a straight line, as fast as possible, and if he tries to use his hook, you just flash it. Or you go for the all-in. The correct decision is to disengage. Right? You definitely want to disengage. You don't want to go for the risky all-in play in a 1v2 scenario that usually doesn't turn out well. Especially since Zyra, she's almost here. So if you can just get behind this minion line, Zyra shows up. This Blitz has already shown that he's very aggressive, so he'll probably chase you, and then you freaking get the kill on him, and Ezreal can't do anything because he's too low health. But instead, Jinx comes around here into the bushes. So right now, she's in the bushes. She should be moving that way to try and get away. But she moves towards Ezreal, blows her chompers, doesn't hit anyone with it, misses the zap, uses both her her heal, and then tries to flash forward to get the kill, and winds up dying because of it. So, not what you want to do, right? If you're going to go for this bushes, you want to go for the bushes and then try to juke backwards. But I think the best play would have been just to immediately go backwards and force him to hit that skill shot. If he gets a great rocket grab, okay, whatever. He's going to pull you to here. What's Ezra going to do? He's way down here. And worst case, you know, or if he even lands the rocket grab, or if it looks like it's going to land, you can just flash it. And it's just a question of your reflexes. But Zyra gets a little bit too cocky. She tries to get the kill, winds up going into turret range, and winds up giving the double kill off. However, she does get the kill back. Actually, almost gets a double kill. Almost kills Blitzcrank, but at least she kills Ezreal. So, moral of the story is, yet again, positioning, right? Always have a reason for being where you want to be. And never... Don't try to engage in a 1v2, especially when your support is almost there. Try to get to them. Force the other team to make a play. Don't make the play for them. But anyway, let's go up to top lane, because I got ganked here pretty recently. So, alright, so me and Renekton are trading, and Shyvana shows up. Oh crap, this sucks. Definitely my mistake for being too far forward while my hop was on cooldown. I still got a couple seconds left on my hop, so typically what happens is, alright, Shyvana's going to gank me, alright, I'm just going to hop over her, and then if I need to, I still have flash available. But because I'm playing so far forward, with my hop on cooldown, because I just used it to avoid an all-in by Renekton, this allows Shyvana to come in, get the smite off. I flash the smite, but with her movement speed, it's enough for her to get me in the turret range. Now, even if Wukong wasn't here, Shyvana's dead. There's no way that she's getting out of turret aggro in time to, especially without flash. There's no way that she's going to get out of turret range. She dove too deep. But I don't mind because Wukong comes in, he winds up getting the kill, but I still get the assist gold, right? So that's an extra, 150 gold. That I'm not going to complain about for our team. So good job on Wukong to stop his back and get over here and kill Shyvana. But I'm going to go back and talk a little bit about this top lane matchup, right? Because I'm playing a matchup I'm not familiar with. Don't play a lot of top lane because pretty much it always gets called by somebody first or second pick. So I play jungle and support mainly, because those are the less popular roles. But this lane matchup between Renekton and Gnar is very interesting, because in mini Gnar form, I can just kind of sit here and poke, get my CS, not too worried about it. He can, slice and dice all he wants, but if he tries to close the range on me, I've got, one, my boomerang for a slow, and if he's still able to close the distance, I've got my hop, and I can get away with my hop. And then the other reason why I like this matchup is that if I am able to trade with him, if I'm able to get him low in health, if I have good management of my rage bar, as soon as I go Mega Gnar, I can just completely ruin his day and get him in a pretty nice CC chain that'll allow me to pick up a kill. So it's a very safe lane for me. And it still gives me some kill pressure on Renekton. And it gives me the late game team fighting and tankiness and CC that I want. So you see here, Shyvana's moving up to... originally she was going to gank, but then she decided to move up and try and get a ward into our blue side jungle, but she gets spotted out by our ward right here. So Wukong wisely rotates down. Zyra and Jinx are moving up as well. And you can see that this is going to be a pretty one-sided fight because Shyvana is actually a level lower than Wukong. So great play, great rotation. And that's kind of the hazard of trying to invade somebody's jungle when you don't have any idea where they are. So always be careful when you're invading jungles, try and get wards down. Alright, continuing on the aggressiveness in bot lane. We've got Blitz here. And this is kind of a very interesting thing. Alright, so Blitz comes up here, and he's charging forward. Charge, 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 charge. Why are you guys running away? Ezreal's way back here. If Zyra lands her root and her combo, and Jinx follows up, Blitzcrank is dead before Ezreal can do anything. And the thing you really don't want to do is you don't want to split up, right? You don't want to have Zyra going that way and Jinx going that way. You gotta stay together. Because it's all about distance between champions, right? The distance between Ezreal and Blitzcrank is really far. So as long as you guys stay closer together than they are, then you have the advantage when the fight breaks out, because you're going to be in a 2v1 for a longer period of time. So you can get more damage down. You see, split up, and there's the pull. And now Ezreal, he's up here. Jinx is way back here. So Ezreal can just do his little arcane shift forward, and now they're so close to each other that, yeah, now it's a 2v1 in favor of the blue team instead of the red team. So you can guess how this ends. Zyra winds up getting killed, and that is again a problem with positioning, right? You gotta stick together. You guys are a team. You guys are a bot lane duo. Always stick together and punish the support. If he's being super aggressive and getting way far ahead of his AD carry, you gotta punish him. You can't let him just do that for free. You gotta make him be afraid of you. Alright, so now we're in the situation where Jinx is in a 1v2 lane because Zyra just died. So Jinx has no kill pressure. Ezreal can free farm all he wants, but if Jinx goes to CS and Blitz gets a grab or Ezreal all in, she's dead. There's nothing she can do about it, right? There's no way that she's going to be able to get out of an all in this case. So you just have to accept that these CS, or actually rather the blue minion CS, these CS, you're not getting them. Alright? Just accept that fact, right? You don't have a support, you're in a 1v2. Don't be stupid and risk your life for a CS. It's not worth it. Never trade your life for a CS. You've already made one mistake, which is your support getting killed. The punishment for that mistake, in addition to the gold for your enemies, is you now don't have any lane pressure. So you have to concede these CS, no matter how painful it is. You don't want to compound your mistake by trying to go for a CS and wind up giving up a kill. And sure enough, that's what happens. And Blitz even, he doesn't even go for the kill. He allows Ezreal to get the kill. So never give up a CS for a kill. Oh, excuse me. So, on top of, the two deaths now, I guess, both Jinx and Zyra, you also start losing minions to towers as well. So that's another disadvantage. I mean, I know you were worried about losing CS here, but if you die, then you're just going to lose CS to the tower anyway. So you might as well just lose the CS and not die. Cardinal sin of League of Legends. Never face check a brush, right? Ezreal's got his trinket ward up. He can definitely ward Tri-Brush if he wants to. There's no reason to check the brush without Blitzcrank by your side. That's what he does. And Wukong says, thank you very much. I'll happily take the kill. And Blitzcrank does actually a really good job. Almost lands the hook on to Wukong, but is not able to. So more of the story is don't face check a brush unless you've got friends. And if you don't need to face check a brush, just use a trinket ward. So this is kind of an interesting bot lane, right? You got this Ezreal Blitz bot lane, which is kind of weird because Blitz is really kind of a kill champion. Like he wants to all in people, and Ezreal is more of a poke champion. I mean, I guess Blitz's kit allows Ezreal to hit his skill shots better, but a raw, hyper carry ADC would be so much a better combination with this Blitzcrank as opposed to an Ezreal. So it's kind of weird, but Blitz is getting a lot of pulls, so I mean you can't really argue with that. On the other side, you got Zyra and Jinx, and this is actually a really cool lane because Jinx has got her chompers, Zyra's got her root. There's a lot of AoE damage that you can do between the rockets and also Zyra's abilities. So there's a lot of really cool synergy here that I like, but it's just not being properly executed. So we can see here, Bliss has another all-in, and Zyra lands her grasping roots, but there's really no follow-up. And I mean, the only thing you gotta worry about in this matchup is dodging Blitz's grab. Like, if you dodge the grab, then this combo has nothing between the two of them. That's all it's based on. So, yet again, Zyra and Jinx were backing away from Blitz when he's way far away from Ezreal. There's no reason to be fearful of this Blitzcrank. Just dodge his grab and punish the hell out of him for it. Anyway. Jinx dies, Zyra's able to pick up a kill, and then Ezreal does this nice little arcane shift, and then Zyra, she could have killed him, but she walks too far between auto attacks and winds up dying. However, the Thorns get the revenge, and they wind up killing Ezreal in return. So it winds up being a 2 for 2. But Zyra gets both of those kills. Jinx doesn't get any of those kills. So now Jinx is 0-3 and 3, while Zyra is 6 and 4, which is not where we want to have our gold distribution. We want to have the gold on the AD carry. Alright, so I'm going to back up. If something's working good, you might as well try it again, right? So Shyvana had some good success beforehand. When she ganked me, she got a kill. So she comes up to try and gank me again, but I've Bisoned up, and I've got a ward down here in this bush. So I'm very aware of what she's ready to do. So what I'm trying to do here is I'm trying to wait till I go Mega Gnar for us to engage. And I want to give away that I've got a ward here. But I kind of delay too much. I think it's my fault for delaying too much rather than Wukong engaging too soon. But Wukong just comes on in here. Going crazy, and he's getting focused down like crazy. So I wind up having to flash because I didn't rotate down fast enough. So I flash, crunch, and then I land my ult, and then follow up with my wall up for that great CC combo that Gnar is known for, allowing me to get the kill. So this is why you want to buy wards, and I actually wind up buying a lot of wards in this game, and they definitely pay for themselves multiple times. So. Always be fearful of a Gnar anytime he's near walls. Anyway, so moving down to mid lane. This Lux is doing a pretty dang good job so far. Swain is kind of a very... I think he's difficult to play against because... once he hits level 6, he's got amazing sustain. He's very hard to burst down, which is what most mid laners rely on, is the ability to burst down their opponent. And then Swain can deal a ton of damage back to you. So this is a very difficult matchup, and I think Lux is playing it well, where she's just relying on her poke. She's not trying to all-in Swain when he's high health. She's waiting for him to get low health before she tries to engage him. Jinx and Zyra are finally playing defensive, but in reality they're kind of playing too defensive, right? You want to keep vision of your enemies. You don't want to allow them to kind of be able to roam like this. It definitely it hurts your jungler and it hurts your mid laner, right? Because they could roam up here and they could go after Lux. Your jungler has no idea if they're ganking or if they're got wards down when he tries to gank. So you definitely want to try and keep sight, at least keep sight of your lane opponents at all times. But they're trying to push up, and Wukong makes a very good play to come down here and engage. So Wukong comes in for the gank. The Jinx is so far back, right? Who the frick cares if Blitzcrank grabs you? You've got Wukong coming in right now. Like, he's coming in for the kill. Like, you're in a 3v2. Like, there's no reason to play this far back. You should be, like, up here behind minions. So even if Blitz does get a pull, it doesn't matter. It's still a 3v2. So you can see great snare by Zyra, and then Wukong gets his ult off and pretty much solos out Ezreal. Zyra gets a kill credit, but that was mostly Wukong doing all that damage. And if Jinx is further up, Blitzcrank is pretty much instantaneously dead at this point as well. But instead, we got a blow Zyra ult. Thankfully landed the zap. And able to pick up the double kill. But that fight would have just been over instantaneously if Jinx had been further up. So you gotta keep your eyes on your minimap. I know he didn't ping you or anything like that saying he was coming down, but you gotta keep your eyes on the minimap. Be ready for those ganks. Alright, so this is a kind of a common thing, right? You just get the double kill in bot lane, what do? Do you go for the tower, or do you go for dragon? Well, if you can get the tower, you want to go for the tower, because that's going to give you a global gold advantage. If you can't get the tower, you want to go for the dragon. You want to go for the objective that you can definitely get. But towers are more important than dragons, in my opinion. I think that most people would agree with me. However, as soon as this tower goes down, these CS here that we spent all this time killing, not important. Who cares? Who cares about these CS? It's objectives. Objectives are what matter. And you don't want, like, the reason why you don't want to kill these CS is you don't want the lane to push that far, because now the lane is pushing super hard and they can set up a freeze here. And if they set up a good freeze, those like 5 or 6 CS you got, you're going to lose 20 or 30 CS just because they're going to freeze you out of the lane and there's going to not be anything you can do. So these CS are not, you don't want to sacrifice a dragon for these couple CS. It's just not worth it. So as soon as the tower went down, Zyra and Jinx should have been rotating up to dragon. Instead, Shyvana finds Wukong first, and Wukong's forced to evacuate. So Lux is also not rotating as fast as she should to help Wukong. So I wind up using my teleport to try and come down here and get a pincer maneuver onto Shyvana. But Wukong's pretty low health, or sorry, Lux is low health, Lux is low mana, Wukong's low health, and we're not able to fall for the kill. However, every play has consequences. So because I go for this teleport play, I'm pretty much sacrificing top tower for that, right? And that's partially my fault, right? I mean, I knew that I was probably going to lose top tower by teleporting, but I figured that, okay, if I can pick up a kill, we can probably push mid tower and can possibly get the dragon, it's probably going to be worth it. But you can see here, Swain and Ezreal rotate, so we're not able to get mid tower, we're not able to get the kill on this Shyvana, and Jinx is farming the jungle, so we can't really push any objectives, right? We can't push mid, we can't go for dragon, we can't really do anything. So that TP was kind of wasted. um, unfortunately. And that's definitely, yeah, my responsibility that I didn't TP at the right time. But definitely could have been a better situation if we had better communication on the team. So I'm going to continue to push. Got 3 people going mid. Typically, so common tactic, right? Push up mid, get the minion wave on the tower. The enemy team is gonna respond by just CSing on a tower, and then you just rotate to dragon. So if you haven't done that in your games, definitely do that. As you can see, yep, push up the tower, and then they come down to dragon, and they probably would have gone for dragon, except for the fact that Lux is really far pushed up, and Renekton is channeling teleport. So they're going for a pick on the Lux. If Renekton had waited on that TP a little bit longer, would have been a much better play. Would have been able to spring the trap a lot better. But anyway, they're not able to get a kill, so now they're going to rotate back for dragon. So you got to anticipate this, right? They just pushed up mid. Their top laner just teleported bot lane. What are they going to do with it? Well, obviously they're going to want to take an objective, and the easiest objective to take is dragon. Which is why I don't like Jinx here backing off, and then she's going to back up here when there's a dragon that we got to worry about. But Lux and Wukong do a very good job getting a kill. But then, there's no vision, right? Jinx is backing, Wukong's trying to go in all solo because he knows they're going for dragon. Lux is up here CSing. No vision, right? So definitely, bad situation. So pretty much give up that dragon for free. Which is something you never want to do. I mean, you don't have to contest every dragon, you don't have to get into some huge team fight, but you don't want to give it to them for free, right? You at least want to push a tower, or get some damage on them, or try to get a kill, or at least, just something. Don't just give it to them for free. Those free objectives are always the most troubling. So, I know Renekton's been down here this entire time. He teleported bot lane, so I know he doesn't have teleport. So what's my response? Well, I don't want them to take this dragon for free like they just did, so screw them, I'm going to get a tower off of this. So I'm hard pushing the lane, I'm warding up, so I got a pink ward in Tribush, I've got a ward here, I'm protected, and I'm just going to push this lane as hard as I freaking can and try and get a tower off of it. And then once I get this tower, and then I'm going to rotate mid and I'm going to take that tower. Because it's about objectives, right? Usually the team that wins is the team that controls the objectives. So you can see, tons of damage on this tower. Renekton's spending all this time running up to save this tower, and it's gonna die anyway. And then as soon as the tower dies, I back off. And now I'm gonna rotate to mid. So, this is a very good engage, right? Wukong comes in with his decoy, charges in. He wanted to get onto Ezreal or Swain, but Blitzcrank is just kind of a target of opportunity. So, Lux landed a great binding, and we're able to pick up the first kill. So right here, Wukong is stuck in Nevermore. If Lux or Zyra exert pressure onto Swain, he will back off. If they do not exert pressure onto Swain, Wukong dies. So this movement, backing up, winds up costing Wukong his life. The only way you can save your teammate is to make it so that the other guy fears death more than he wants to kill. So he winds up killing Wukong. They do pick up the kill onto Swain. And then this is a very good play by them to pick up the third kill. So it winds up being a 3-for-1. Very good trade, very well executed by Lux and Zyra, but it could have been a 3-for-0 if they had continued to exert pressure onto Swain when Wukong got stuck in that Nevermore. But you can see here that I'm rotating down, and we're just going to take mid tower. And there's no way that Renekton can push top fast enough to take our top tower before I can take their mid tower. So what is he going to do? Well, he's going to waste all his time running back down to mid tower, and mid tower is going to die before he gets there. You can see Renekton's running down, and mid tower goes down. So now there's two people left on their team that are alive, Renekton and Shyvana. And this entire time, while they're trying to rotate to mid, Jinx is pushing bot lane as well. So not only are we going to pick up mid tower, but we're also going to pick up bot inner tower as well. All because of one good team fight and just out rotations. I was top, took top tower, he rotated, then I knew he was going to rotate the top, so I just rotated to mid so we could take that tower as well. So that's what I mean when you want to take maximum objectives off an enemy's mistakes. Like if you get a double kill or a triple kill, you don't want to just take one objective. You want to take two objectives or three objectives. Set your opponents up. You got to think multiple moves ahead of them, like a chess game, if you want to have the most success. So, because of those fights, we were able to get top outer, mid outer, and bottom inner. So Zyra right here, she sees Shyvana rotating, and this is kind of a really cool play. So she gets her spores down, gets the root, and look at this, look at all this damage she's doing. She almost kills Shyvana, and Shyvana had no way to return the damage to her because of she just did a great job using the terrain to her advantage. The only thing that saves Shyvana is Renekton coming in. So then we get this kind of poking, engage, etc., and the Jinx target. So I don't know if Jinx was going for Shyvana or if she was going for Swain or Renekton. So I'll just chalk that up and say, good job, great rocket. Those are definitely my favorite rockets. You know, the person's just backing and all of a sudden they're dead because of a rocket. So good job by Jinx getting that kill. Alright, yet another fantastic engage by Wukong. Comes in, lands his all of his damage, gets his ult, and then an immediate follow-up ult by Lux to pretty much instantaneously delete Swain. That's how the only way that you can kill Swain is you have to outburst his sustain. And they're able to pretty easily pick up the double kill. Alright. So meanwhile, while this was going on, Ezreal and Blitzcrank were taking our bot at our tower. So if I back up here, Jinx is up here. Actually, no, she's not there. That's a problem with the software. So Jinx is up here, and she's moving down. They're pushing bottom tower. But Jinx knows that Zyra is rotating at this point. So all Jinx has to do is wait for Zyra, and this is definitely a fight that favors them. But you can see, tower goes down, and instantaneously Jinx backs off way far up here. Zyra is 9-4 right now. She is ridiculously fed. She can do an absurd amount of damage. She just needs a little bit of help. Like, this 2v2, it's no question who's going to win. If Zyra and Jinx go up against Ezreal and Blitzcrank right now, they get the easy double kill. Or at the very least, they'll trade even. They'll prevent Ezreal and Blitzcrank from backing, which allows Lux and Wukong to push the mid-inner turret. So this right here is definitely a missed opportunity to engage in a 2v2. So instead, Zyra comes down here and she tries to engage in a 1v2 while Jinx is kind of CSing. So these CS don't matter. Jinx should be moving down here to help Zyra. So Zyra tries to go in on Ezreal, And look at that, she almost kills him instantaneously. And she winds up killing Ezreal, actually. She goes 1 for 1 in a 1v2. When Jinx is here, that's a double kill, easily. And no death, so Zyra doesn't die in that situation. So, but Zyra does her job. She delays them long enough that we can get this mid-inner turret. Excuse me. Alright, so we just got mid inner turret, and we've got also bot inner turret because of Jinx. So we want to start looking for other objectives and setting up vision. Our war coverage is better on red side than it is on blue side, so while this is kind of maybe a juicy target, it's a last tier 2 tower, it's a lot easier for us to rotate between mid and bot lane and try and challenge both of these towers. And if they move into this red side jungle, we know, and we can probably pick them off and allow us to get a tower. So because we have such good coverage on red side jungle, Wukong feels pretty confident coming in to try and solo out Shyvana. And unfortunately, the one mistake he makes is he smites this minion instead of smiting Shyvana, which probably would have given him enough to get the kill. But Shyvana makes it back to base, and this prompts a rotation by their team. So Swain, Blitzcrank, and Ezreal all rotate down, but we've got vision on them. So me, Zyra, and Lux rotate down as well. So now it's kind of a 4v3 team fight. So Wukong comes in, and this is a great engage onto Ezreal, the primary, carry. Forces Ezreal to arcane shift over the wall. So now, look at this. It's pretty much a 4v1 against Swain. So there shouldn't be any hesitation by us to engage. So we try to engage, but there's a little bit of hesitation by Lux and Zyra. And that gives Renekton enough time to channel teleport, which is a great play by him, and try and even the odds a little bit more. So we're forced to kind of back off, but we know that their team's split up, right? We know that some of their people are down here, and some of their people are up here. So Wukong comes around, and he has a fantastic flank here. So you see, he uses decoy, comes in, lands the ult, fantastic job, right? Tons of damage, it's up to us to follow up. So Lux gets off a great ult here, allows us to get the kill onto Ezreal. So at this point, Wukong can just walk away, and he can definitely get out. But he sticks around a little bit too long, and he kind of turns back towards Renekton and winds up dying. We are able to pick up the double kill, and then alright. So right here, so right now it's just a 2 for 1. We really want to get like a 3 for 1 or a 4 for 1. Lux lands a great binding while still in the Nevermore. That allows me enough time to close the distance and land my wall up in my Meganar, allowing us to pick up another kill. That winds up being a 3 for 1. My only complaint, unfortunately, is Jinx was up CSing there and didn't realize that the team fight was going to happen, right? If that had been a fight where we had our AD carry, it would have been a landslide victory. So yeah. At this point, though, you can see that we've got over 7k advantage. Huge tower advantage, just took down the mid inhibitor. And this game is pretty much over. There is a chance for them to come back, but I'll spoil it for you. If they don't come back, we continue to push on them, and we're going to win this fight. So I do want to ramble a little bit more. I'm going to put this on directed camera for you guys while I talk a little bit. And what I'm going to talk about today in my ramblings is that I wanted to talk about military service. And for those of you who haven't seen some of my other videos, I am active duty military, and it's something that I've done for pretty much most of my adult life. I joined ROTC when I was 17 years old, and now I'm 30. Almost 8 years active duty right now, and the rest was reserves through ROTC and whatnot. But I wanted to kind of share my experiences, because that's a question I get from a lot of people is, hey, what's your experience? Should I join the military? Things like that. And I mean, nobody can tell you whether or not the military is right for you, but I think it helps. The more stories you can hear and the more perspectives you can get, the better. So I'm hoping to try and share that with you guys. So I will let you guys know that I most likely am going to go to the reserves. So I'm not. This is not like me, like, hoorah Navy, I'm going to stay in forever, things like that. And it's not me saying, I hate the military, things like that. It's not intended to recruit you, and it's not intended to scare you away. It's just my life experience and the experience that I've seen other people have. But the first thing I want to say is that, for those of you who don't know, less than 0.5% of our population in the United States serves in the military. That's a tiny percentage of people who are protecting the vast majority of people, right? You got less than 0.5%, and that's all we got to defend us. So if you're one of those people who are in the military, or one of those people who are thinking about joining the military, I just want to say thank you, because I know how difficult it is, because I am in the military, and I want you guys to know that you guys are appreciated. And yeah, it's a huge sacrifice. So what I want to do is I want to separate this into 3 kind of quick sections. Why should you join, or why shouldn't you join? Kind of like the initial. Then I want to talk about like actual life in the military and my experiences, both the good, bad, and ugly. And then I also want to talk about why to get out, or why to stay in longer. So like I said, I signed up for ROTC in 2003. It was just after 9/11, so it was definitely kind of a very emotional time in the country. And I knew that I wanted to do some type of service for my country, because I felt very blessed and very humbled, and I wanted to do something positive for the community. I didn't know if it was going to be military or Peace Corps or Red Cross or what, but I wanted to do something. But I ended up deciding to do the military. I felt like it was a good fit for my personality, and there's a lot of other great things that the military offers. But the number one reason why you should be wanting to join the military is because you want to serve. You want to make that sacrifice, because it really is a sacrifice. You are going to get a lot from the military, but the military is also going to expect a lot from you, and you're going to have to really work hard at it. But some of the other reasons why I joined, in addition to wanting to serve, was it's great job security. Good paying job. You're guaranteed to get a paycheck. You're not. Unless you really do something bad, you're never going to get fired. Great education benefits. I got a full ride scholarship to my university because I went ROTC. For those of you who don't know, ROTC is a program that allows you to become an officer, and you can pretty much get a full ride scholarship to hundreds of different colleges around the country. And there's also the military academies for those who want to have a little bit more structure. And then if you decide to go the enlisted route, there's also your GI Bill, which will pretty much pay for a college education at any public university that you've got. And then probably one of the most important reasons is the healthcare system is fantastic. Like I've gone to the ER so many times, and had all these prescriptions and things like that, and I've never paid a penny for it. So, and that's how it is for you and your family. If you've got dependents, you don't pay a dime for anything with healthcare, and that's a huge weight off your shoulders. But the big reason why I see a lot of people join the Navy, especially on like the enlisted side, is they're trying to escape something. They're trying to escape some bad situation at home, and that can either be foster parents, real parents, abusive parents, alcohol issues, drug issues, bad neighborhood. your friends are part of the wrong crowd and you're looking for a way out. I've had people who grew up in gang neighborhoods and some of their friends were killed and they didn't want to be the next person to wind up like their friends, and the Navy does give you an escape for that, and it's not a bad thing or a good thing. It's the Navy tries to help people, and the Navy offers a lot to people who wouldn't otherwise have those opportunities, because let's face it, a lot of people do judge a book by its cover, and if you grow up in some horrible environment or some horrible neighborhood where you don't have a lot of references because you're just a kid, a lot of businesses are not going to take a chance on you, but the military a lot of times will. And that's definitely a really great thing about the military, is they give you a lot of responsibilities when you're very young. But if there's one thing I could summarize like the military, is that if you devote yourself to the military, like if you actually buy into it and work hard, the military will make you a better person. Like, I am hands down a better person, a better man, because I was in the military. I am stronger, faster, smarter, better leadership skills, better social communication, better ethics. In every single way I can think of, I am better because I was in the military. However, you will also work harder than you ever thought possible. Working in the military is, they get their money's worth out of you. And if you don't be afraid of hard work and join the military, because you're going to be disappointed. I can only speak to my personal experience, but when I was in port, it was not uncommon for me to work 100 hours a week. And when I was at sea, it was not uncommon for me to be awake for 30, 40, 50, maybe even 60 hours at a time without any sleep. So you got to be willing to work hard if you want to be in the military. And that's really kind of the central nugget of truth or wisdom that I can hopefully give you about the military, is that it's not all good and it's not all bad. It's going to be a love-hate relationship. There's going to be times when you love it, because it's a job that gives you so much satisfaction when you accomplish the mission, all right, or you do something that right, that saves a shipmate or saves your ship or something like that. It's so rewarding. But at the same time, there's also times when it's grueling, it's nightmarish, and it feels like it's never going to end, and you don't feel appreciated, and it sucks. But it's what you make of it. That's really what it is. Like, you can't let the bad times cancel out the good things that happen, because there are a lot of great things that happen in the military. There's a lot of people that you're going to meet. I have laughed so hard in the military. There's just so many funny things that have happened, and just people that I'll never forget, that I wouldn't have met if I hadn't been in the military. But there's some other things that are both good and bad at the same time at the military. For example, you're going to travel a lot if you're in the military. You're going to do deployments. You're going to see places that you never thought you were going to see. And that's awesome. I've had some amazing experiences in foreign countries. But at the same time, that also means that you're going to be away from your family. And that's really difficult. And it gets especially difficult when you have a family member who's sick or a family member who dies. Like, when I was on mission one time, both my grandmother and my great-aunt died. And I didn't know for over a month. I didn't know until we pulled back into port. And by then, the funeral was over. And I kind of, everybody else had moved on, but it was brand new for me, and I kind of was left to grieve by myself on deployment, and that was very hard. But I mean, that is something that you have to just prepare yourself for, is that there's going to be some times when you're not going to be there. You're not going to be there for your birthday. You might not be there for Christmas. It's a sacrifice. That's what it comes down to. It's a sacrifice. You are sacrificing your freedom so that you can protect other people's freedoms. That's really what it comes down to. Um, so that's been my experience, and it's not all good and it's not all bad. It's a healthy mix of both, and you have to be realistic about it. So I'm going to go into why'd you get out or why'd you stay in, and I'll discuss why people stay in first off, and that's because the military does take care of you, right? The military will put a roof over your head. They'll put meals in your stomach. They will feed your family. They'll make sure your kids get to school. They will take care of your family while you are gone. There's so much of a support network, and people love that, especially people who didn't grow up with that. It's very refreshing to them to have that support network and have those parental figures that help you. But it's also very, very hard. Um, the reason why I think that I'm ultimately going to get out is that my life has shifted from being a single person to being a married person, and hopefully, sometime in the future, to being, a family man, a father. And it's very hard for me to reconcile the fact that I would have to spend months or possibly years away from my wife and children for the military, because that's not just a sacrifice that I have to make, that's a sacrifice that they have to make, and they don't really have a choice in the matter, and that's not fair to me. I don't think that I could do that to them just because I want to go and be a soldier or whatnot. So that's part of the reason, is that it's not just you who makes the sacrifice, it's your family that makes the sacrifice, and I don't want to put them through that anymore. And then the other thing is that there's a lot of moving involved. I mean, I've been in the Navy over 7 years now, almost 8, and I've moved 6 times. So, I mean, every year or two I've been moving, and it gets very tiring, because as soon as you unpack, you feel like you're packing up again, and you're moving to a new place. And it's been very hard for my wife. She can't really establish herself in her career. She's constantly, changing jobs and having to find new jobs, and she can't ever really advance or really build up that experience that you need to move up in a company. So, I mean, that's ultimately, even if you love the job, if it's not the right fit for your family, you have to get out. And that's kind of the situation I'm in. It's not that I don't like the military, it's that it's no longer a good fit for my life. So I hope that helped you guys. If you have any other questions, just please leave a comment, and I'll definitely get back to you about it. But I hope you enjoyed the game. Obviously, we won, and this is Randomonium signing off.